Hello and welcome to Just Hoops. The Memphis Grizzlies are one of the best teams in the association this year, 19-10 at the moment, first in the West. Ja Morant has assimilated to the top of stardom. Desmond Bane has grown tremendously, and they haven't even been truly healthy yet, and they're top 10 in both offense and defense so far this season. Taylor Jenkins has done a great job at creating a team unit out in Memphis, and these guys are competing at a high level on a nightly basis. So in this video, we're going to dive into the defensive end of the floor and see what they do at that end that makes them so special. First, here are some numbers for you. They are 5th in defensive rating at the moment, but beyond that, you can see that they're top 10 in basically every defensive category. I think the things that stand out is that they make shots tough with low field goal percentage and effective field goal percentage, and they rebound at an incredibly high level. So now, after diving in the numbers a little bit, I think it's time to look at the film and see what this defense does under Taylor Jenkins that has made them so elite to start this NBA season. The first thing we're going to look at is the levels of this defense, breaking down their shell. To start, we're going to look at the first level of this defense, or on-ball defense. This is where the tone is set for the Memphis Grizzlies, and you can see here in this clip against the Miami Heat. Jones is up into the ball as much as he could, preventing drives. You can see that the goal of a lot of these from the jump is to prevent a drive, and when the ball gets put on the ground, they are really good at cutting off angles, getting in front of the ball, and playing very solid at the point, being physical, being active, and it just makes the ball handler not get where they want to go, not make the play that they want to make. Being great at the point of attack and pressuring to the level at which you can pressure as an individual is what allows them to be so successful. You can see that the priority is to make driving angles incredibly tough at an individual level, and then they sit back and try to force tough jumpers. Here against Trey Mann, you can see that Aldama does a great job forcing a tough step back three, and this last clip here against Giannis is forced into a mid-range jumper because of how active, alert, and physical Jaren Jackson Jr. is at the point of attack. Now to go to the second level, or gaps, of this defense. They take pride in their gaps and their positioning and their activity in this one-off-the-ball positioning. Here in this first clip against the Bucks, you can see that on the drive, Clark is at the nail. He's in the middle of the floor. He's active, deterring the ball to get to the drive, and then he's still able to stunt out and get a contest on the three. This you'll see time and time again in these clips, but they really do take pride in loading the nail, loading the elbows, and making driving angles incredibly tough. This goes to their first level and it attaches because both of them, their goal is to prevent drives and make the paint incredibly hard. Next, we'll talk about the help side behind that if somebody does get in the paint, but these first two levels do a great job at loading that top area of the box and making driving angles and driving opportunities far and few between. Here against the Bucks again, we're going to get that activity at the middle of the floor. Both guys are on a string, hitting the nail and getting back out to theirs. And this last clip here against Detroit, we're going to get it twice. We're going to get the initial stunt from Brandon Clark, and then everybody's going to get back into the positioning, and then we'll see Jones at the elbow nail area making that drive hard to get to the middle of the floor. Now we're going to get to the third level, or what I think is the best part of this defense. They're highly connected, highly communicative, and this is where they make plays happen. So in this first clip here against Detroit, we're going to get an example of their positioning. You can see that it is a triangle from the rim getting plugged, the nail, and then a zone up on the backside. Here we're going to freeze it real quick and show the positioning again. You got Dylan Brooks at the nail, we got Jones that's ready to plug the rim, and then we got Brody out wide, zoned up. That is their basic positioning. We're going to have another clip here showing the positioning again against the Oklahoma City Thunder. We got the nail loaded with Aldama, Brandon Clark at the elbow, and Brody again down low, ready to plug the rim. That triangle zoning up is what allows them to be really good and really active in their help side. But when things are in the middle of the floor, you can see that they prioritize packing that paint and making it very difficult to get down there. Now in this clip against the Thunder, we're going to get an active help rotation. Steven Adams is the low/inside man, and he comes over to affect the shot. We get a crackback behind him, and then we get a drop behind the crackback to zone up and take away that baseline. They really like preventing corner threes, so that back drop is very essential to this. Here we're going to get another full rotation. Brandon Clark comes over to stop the drive. Ja cracks back, and then we get a zone up at the elbow just because of the spacing of the Milwaukee Bucks. And then here's one last example against Detroit of a full rotation. Jaren Jackson Jr. meet at the rim, crack back behind him, and a zone up at the elbow. this connectivity is great, but there's also nuance to it. Here against the Thunder, we're going to get the big guy coming in. It's not necessarily the low man, but Adams flew in to be that primary helper. Then the drop behind or crack back was already at the rim, Ja Morant, and then they zoned up on the baseline. Just the nuance to it that they're not always set in stone where the help is coming from, but they always are there and ready and active. And another part about this is their ability to rotate back out. They take pride in taking away corner threes. They're holding teams to less than 8% of their shots coming from the corner and forcing a lot of threes above the break, which are more analytically just better for defense. And you can see in a lot of these clips that they're highly communicative on how they get back out to shooters, Xing out, being active in that drop behind the crackback, and just overall making a high-level effort at getting back out to contest that corner three. In this clip here against the Thunder, you can see that they're even able to get out to shooters when things get scrambled. The drive happens, the initial help, Ja gets a tip on the ball, and then guys have to communicate, get out, they peel off at the end of it, and get a good contest and force a tough shot. And this clip here against Miami, everything gets put together. Good on-ball presence and pressure. The gaps are pretty active in forcing a tougher drive. The backside is loaded up, protecting and solidifying the paint, and then when the ball gets kicked out, they're Xing, communicating, contesting, and forcing a tough contested three above the break. Now let's take a look at their defensive playmaking that I think makes them so special as a defensive unit. You can see throughout these clips that even if it's a proper rotation with the low man or if it's the big coming down, that they allow them to go make a play on the ball. They're not afraid of having these guys in foul trouble. They're not afraid of them screwing up in the help. And they trust these guys to go out there and make plays. They're leading the league in block shots. They're also forcing a lot of turnovers. And these things are making their defense loud. They're making them scary. It's really opposing to opponents to get in the paint. Have to worry about Adams, Clark, Jaren Jackson Jr. flying in and blocking their shot. Or on the perimeter, worrying about Ja, Dylan Brooks, Desmond Bane when he's healthy, Jones, Zaire Williams, all these guys flying around on the perimeter, forcing turnovers, and still being able to come in and block shots. This defense is elite, solidified, and they play really good together. We talked about how they rotate, how they're connected at each level, but at the end of the day, their ability to go out and make plays as a collective unit is really what makes them special and what makes them so hard to get easy buckets against. The Grizzlies have found a formula that works for them, first being physical and active at the first level, preventing drives, second level deterring the offense from getting easy paint touches, and that third level being highly active and communicative at flying around, making plays, and preventing shots at the rim. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, learned something about the Grizzlies defense and what makes them and other high-level defenses so successful. For more content like this, please like, subscribe, and share, and we'll catch you in the next one.